Hi everyone, I'm live on my public page, my personal page. Good evening everyone, it's Shamila Ramjawan coming to you from the Red Corner Show in collaboration with Ladies of All Nations International, LOANI South Africa. A very, very warm welcome and a happy International Women's Day. I trust that you all had an awesome day. We focus today on the hashtag We Women Matter. I have exciting news. The Red Corner Show has collaborated with Ladies of All Nations International, South Africa. We will continue to engage with phenomenal people from across the globe. I also have my co-host, Dr. Daksha Ramjawan, sitting right next to me on the show today. She is a marketing guru, global awardee and speaker, entrepreneur. This trailblazer launched her own health and beauty line, Taji, during COVID-19. And of course, she's a true humanitarian at heart.
Thank you for that introduction. Good evening, everyone. A very happy International Women's Day to all you stunning women across the globe. To kick off this week and on this special day, we have decided to have members from our very own Ladies of All Nations International Executive Committee on the show, where they will share a little about their journeys and inspire you. Each guest will have 3 to 4 minutes to introduce themselves, and then we will have a very interesting dialogue.
Our first guest this evening is LOANI Daksha. LOANI is a tax specialist and entrepreneur, the founder of the South African Police Wives and Partners Club. Good evening, LOANI.
Hi, Shamila. Hi, Daksha. How are you?
Very well, thank you. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Awesome. LOANI, I trust that you had a wonderful Women's International Day today.
We did. Thank you very much.
Great.
And happy Women's Day to you too as well.
Thank you so much. LOANI, please can you tell our audience a little bit about yourself? Remember, you are welcome to share anything. So please go ahead.
Well, I'm LOANI Daksha. I'm the Director of Daksha Consulting and Administration Services. I'm originally from Pretoria, relocated to Cape Town in the beginning of last year. I have got 3 express coffee bars down here in Cape Town. I am the founder of the South African Police Wives and Partners Club. And then I also received the Panache Woman of Wonder Cape Town 2020 Award in December last year.
Congratulations, well done. So tell me, LOANI, what made you move to Cape Town?
My husband is in the police and he was transferred by the police down to Cape Town. And we did a cross transfer with someone else. So we always wanted to come down to Cape Town. And when the opportunity came up, we just grabbed a hold of it and we took the step and moved down here.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Our next guest is none other than Isha Mansingh. She is a business leader, a woman empowerment change agent, and a media personality. Welcome, Isha.
Thank you, Daksha and Shamila. You always make it sound a lot more glamorous than it really is, but it's so special to be here. And happy International Women's Day to the 2 beautiful hosts and to all the other beautiful women around the screen in red and to those that are dialing in and joining us right now.
Thank you, Isha.
So I'm going to kick off, Shamila, with a bit about myself. So as Daksha said, I'm a business leader. I was very fortunate and blessed to have been appointed as the first and currently the only woman and the youngest member of the executive committee of Imperial, which is, for those of you that don't know, one of the largest logistics businesses across the African continent. It's very much my passion to be involved in community development and women empowerment. So I'm pleased to be leading Imperial's Global Women's Forum, as well as many of our CSI and community development initiatives. I'm also proudly a mom to 2 young and beautiful kids. As you can see, their art is behind me. So my 6-year-old is a much better artist than I am. and definitely a wife, a mom, a dog mom. So very much somebody that plays many different roles. And of course, for the love of it, my passion is media. So I'm also a TV personality, a TV presenter for Colors TV, a radio DJ, an award-winning journalist, and many other roles that we try our hands at. I've even tried my hand at cooking and figured out that during COVID, I'm not that bad in the kitchen. Not as great as Daksha, but I'll get past. I'll feed my family. So that's me in a nutshell, and looking forward to sharing this platform with all you phenomenal ladies.
Thank you, Isha. That's exactly why I didn't introduce you, because all of those titles, all of everything that you do, so many hats. It's amazing. Well done.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I actually don't know how you do it.
I see that there's some difficult questions coming my way, so I hope I have all the right answers.
Well, I don't think they're difficult. I think it's everything that you do and more. So we want to get to know you. I think everybody wants to get to know you.
Thanks, Shamila.
Pleasure. So moving on, we go to Dr. Babalwa Fati, who is an environmental sustainability expert, founder, managing director of Meyezo Environmental Services, an author and a poet. Hello, Dr. Babalwa, how are you? Did we lose her?
Yes, thank you so much for the introduction. How are you?
Great, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Hi, Princess D.
Hi, Doctor.
So yeah, as you're saying, my name is Babalwa. I'm the founder of Meyezo Environmental Management Services, also the mining director. We provide advisory services to developers who want to develop in a sustainable manner and moving towards the green economy aspects of things. So we help them to source their environmental authorization, mining rights, and help them with the implementation of the conditions of those authorizations when they've received them, so that we can mitigate things like climate change and the impact they have on the environment. I am also a poet. I write poetry books as well, so I'm a published author. And I'm also a mother, I'm a wife, just a girl from the rural village of Dugatole location in the Eastern Cape.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. And we're going to get into much detail later on and get to know a little bit more about you. Thank you, Babalwa.
Thank you.
Our next guest is Dr. Roshni Pakri. She is the founder of Sanjeet Train of Hope Foundation and the director of Tayando Beer Distributors.
Hi all, Daksha and Shamila. Thank you for hosting me and to the rest of the gorgeous ladies. So I'm Roshni Pakri, and in a nutshell, I'm an ex-police officer, served 27 years in SAPS, and then for the last 3 to 4 years, I've joined my husband in business. And then we founded the Sanjeet Train of Hope Foundation, but we'll go more into that later. And I'm a happy wife sometimes, and but I'm glad to be here and be hosted by you guys, and it's wonderful to be here, and thank you again for having me.
It's lovely to have you on tonight, and we did see your husband dancing around in the back, so he's our mascot for tonight.
Okay.
Thank you, Roshni. Moving on, we go to Ambassador Maureen Mia Kasimji, the CEO, founder of the MEA Company, motivational speaker and life coach, and a true humanitarian. Hello, Ambassador Maureen.
Hello, Dr. Shamila and Dr. Daksha. How are you guys doing?
Very well, thank you.
Yourself.
Well, thank you. Happy International Women's Day to everybody. And everyone looks fantastic in the theme of red. Wow, we're really doing it today.
So do you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Just excuse the voice. It's a little bit of flu, so I hope you can hear me properly.
Yes, we can.
In terms of introduction, I have various academia. I studied law, I studied psychology and financial forensics. And due to lots of different circumstances, I pushed and then I went into NLP and CBT because of a personal accident, which left me paralyzed. And I felt there was a bond, obviously, between the mind, body, heart, and soul. And that obviously uplifted me, which led me to do what I do today. And that got to the birth of the MEA company, which you mentioned earlier. MEA stands for Motivate, Empower, and Advance. And that's exactly what I do through that. And through that, I obviously do lots of other work. I also belong to various NGOs. I'm a co-founding director of Helping Hands Social Society. And through that, we do lots of community development, lots of women and child development, lots of school projects. So yeah, a little bit of a busybody, daughter, wife, and mom, encompassing all of these roles, of course, trying to make it all happen. So yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Thank you so much. I'm so impressed by all you lovely ladies, looking beautiful in your red for International Women's Day, and also so inspiring in what you do in your everyday lives. And I'm so keen to hear, how do you manage that 9 to 5 and do everything over and above that as well? So we're going to get to that just now.
Sure.
Our next guest is Sishle Sibisi. She's the founder of Kwanele Foundation and Ebenezer Siyabonga events. She's a speaker, a songstress, and a GBV activist. Welcome, Sishle. I think you're on mute.
Okay. Hello, everybody. How are you?
Good, and you?
Am I being heard now?
Yes.
I had trouble logging in. Apologies for that. But thank you so much for this wonderful platform. It's an honor to be part of this big family of women.
Lovely. Sishle, do you want to share a little bit about yourself? Just a brief introduction. Tell us who you are. You're welcome to share anything because we're all ears.
Okay, so I'm a single mom to 2 beautiful children. Of course, I'm single not by choice. I've been single for the past 5 years because unfortunately to me, I lost my spouse to death. He passed on in 2016. And at that time, my daughter was 2 years old and my son was 6. Fast track today, I'm raising a 7-year-old daughter and 11-year-old son. So I'm a single mom and I believe I'm a strong woman. And I always say, if not for the experiences that I went through, I always say that my past does not define me because it has made me to be the strong woman that I am today. If not for that, I wouldn't be the woman that I am today. So yes, I am a founder of Ebenezer Siyabonga Events, which has been in existence for 5 years also because it was birthed after the passing of my husband. And then I'm a founder of Kwanele Foundation, which we advocate and stand against gender-based violence, focusing mainly at the religious sector, because as the founder of the foundation, I was victimized and abused by pastors in my youth. But of course, gender-based violence is broad. So we do narrow it down to the religious sector, but we also address issues that have to do with the young girl and the young boy. And we also, within the foundation, we have an office called Kwanele In-Laws, which is we advocate and stand against the abuse of young widows when a spouse has passed on. Also, that is based on my own personal experience. That's why my slogan in life is, you can't give what you don't have. So having been through the experience of being widowed at a young age and the horrific treatment that I received from that, being disinherited of everything, that's what birthed that office. So we do advocate for that also. And then I am a speaker. I am an inspirational speaker. I call myself an inspirational speaker. And I'm a songstress. And I am a mom to 2 beautiful children. And yes, that's basically a brief introduction of who I am.
Thank you, Sishle.
Moving ahead, we go to our last but not least youth ambassador, Shweta Suridin, who is Girl Boss business owner, digital marketing strategist, and humanitarian. Hello, Shweta.
Hi, Auntie Shamila. Hi, Daksha. Happy International
Hi,
Women's Day.
Shweta.
Thank you, and same to you. I'm guessing that you had an amazing day.
I did. It was busy as usual, but yeah, we just go on, and it's so lovely to be here on this platform with all of these lovely ladies and getting to know everyone, and you all look amazing.
Awesome, thank you. So do you. Shweta, can you please give us a brief introduction as to who you are?
Okay, so for everyone who doesn't know me, I'm Shweta Surdin. I am 23 years old, turning 24 next week, but I'll pretend I didn't say that.
Hey, when is your birthday?
The 18th of March.
Okay, awesome. Made a note.
I'm a digital marketing manager. I am a girl boss, as I'd like to call myself, humanitarian, like you mentioned. I'm a dog lover and dog mom. Just, normal girl, normal average girl.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Shweta. We're looking forward to hearing a lot more from you. And I think you're going to inspire a lot of the youth out there today.
Thank you. I look forward to the questions later on.
Awesome. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to each speaker and just ask a few questions because we want to get to know you a little better. And I think the audience also wants to know all you inspiring women, what you've been up to, your 9 to 5, your voluntary work, and everything else that you actually do in your life that keeps you busy. And I know a lot of you are moms here and you have families, but you still manage to do a whole lot more. So over to Daksha.
Perfect. Thank you. So we'll start with Luann. Luann, from a tax specialist to having a few cafes around Cape Town, how did the idea for your business come about? And what was the thinking behind it?
Daksha, when I had a nervous breakdown in 2018, it was a matter of survival. I used to work an 8-to-4 job for a boss all my life for 16 years, specializing in tax, the CC states. I've got a legal background. And the pressure and stress just got too much for me. So when I had the breakdown, the doctor told me, you will never work for a boss again. When I was discharged from hospital, it was a matter of survival. I had to provide for my family. As you know, our police officers do not get the best pay in the world. And I had to do my part and contribute to our household. I've got an 11-year-old daughter that we need to take care of. And so I had to think out of the box and make use of my experience and face the world, square in the eyes, and just get it out there and get the job done. So my practice was born out of basically desperation. I had to stand up and go and look for clients and, just start up a practice. I had to look at what I was good at. I knew I was strong in administration. I knew I was strong in tax. I know that I can do the 60 states. I had the backing of a lot of lawyers and legals. So that is where my business came from initially. Then when we moved to Cape Town and lockdown hit, as you know, a lot of, businesses and a lot of clients could not pay their fees and their accounts. And the cafes came across my path in level 3 of lockdown from cafe to go head office. And I just grabbed it with open arms. The first one I took over and I opened it on the 18th of June or 18th of May. The second one in September, and the last one, the newest one, I opened at the end of October of last year, which brings them up to 3. I'm currently tendering for another 2 that we will be opening in the next couple of months.
Congratulations, well done. So impressive. So Luann, tell me, how do you manage? Do you have a good support structure?
I do. I think, along with Greg helping me out as much as he can, I've got a close friend, Samantha, that also lives close by, that helps me immensely a lot with, running of the cafes, buying of stock, even just being a soundboard for the days that I have to complain a lot and just get it off my chest. So I do, and Luanita, she just makes the tea. She's learned, her mom says, just make the tea, there's hope in tea. So just bring the tea and everything will be okay.
Yes, I think, tea is a great stress reliever. I don't know, it does something to me as well. When you sit in front of a cup of tea, it's not the tea sitting in front of you, but when you sit in front of a cup of tea, it just does something mentally before you even take a sip on it.
Yes. Before we started, she brought me tea.
Oh, that is really sweet.
She's so sweet. I'm actually looking forward to her chat in the month coming up, because she's such a ball of energy. I know the last time we met her, she was actually telling us, no, she learned how to make coffee and she's learning the machines now. It's beautiful. So well done on that as well. And Luan, I see you are the founder of South African Police Wives and Partners Club. Can you elaborate more on that for us?
Daksha, the South African Police Wives and Partners Club, I started at the Brooklyn Police Station with my fellow ambassador of Ladies of All Nations International South Africa, Brigadier Kushid Ne, now Peterson, out of a need that arose with myself. At that time, about 6 years ago, we were going through a very tough time, and the police did not have the necessary support structure, not just for the members, but also for the spouses and the partners of the members, for the families. So I saw the need after going through this difficult time alone, and there was no support for us. And I knew that I needed to bring some sort of forum to light so that we can provide a support structure to spouses going through difficult times, going through, to cry together, to pray together. When there is a difficult time facing, like we currently have with members of ours that are in hospital. Very close friends of ours are in hospital. She was in the ICU. And, we formed just a support group to tell them, we are thinking of you. So we share amongst each other, we encourage each other, and they know that they can reach out because there's no one else that understands the life of a police wife in South Africa better than a fellow police wife. A normal citizen friend does not understand when you cancel plans on number 99. They do not understand why you as a police wife attend functions and school functions and events by yourself because your partner is working. They do not necessarily understand the shifts that our partners work. And they also do not understand the stress that we experience as police spouses when it comes to our husbands and our wives that are in the field and serving our country. To give you an example, Greg suffered a minor injury on duty on Saturday early mornings, and I rushed him to hospital Saturday morning, 7 o'clock, because as stubborn as he is, he only waited until he got home after work to go to hospital.
Sure. Well, I can actually relate to that because my late husband was a policeman. I know exactly what you go through. Yes, absolutely.
So yes, that's where the South African Police Wives and Partners Club comes from. We are now almost 5 years old. We have only now recently really started growing. And I have been, really working amongst my Cape Town community and have found that they are really open to, to the support. Especially, we have got a lot of violent crimes in the Cape Town vicinity and the Cape Town environment. Not that the rest of our country is excluded, but, they are more open than what the rest of South Africa's wives were.
Luan, thank you so much for that. And I wish you everything of the best in whatever you do because you're doing a lot. And, it just indicates a strong woman. So well done and congratulations. You know, we do know that at times we have to shift our focus and concentrate on what is priority in our lives. But thank you so much for what you do.
Thank you very much.
Moving ahead, we move on to Isha Mansingh. Wow, this business leader, the executive vice president at Imperial. I have no idea how this woman juggles a family. She has 2 kids. She has a husband. She has a 9-to-5 job. Well, I wouldn't say a 9-to-5 because I think you exceed those hours by far. And you do so many other things. A media personality, interviewing people. That must be so exciting, Isha.
It is. It's very exciting. And I think, Shamila, for me, it's really all driven by passion. And I know it sounds very simplistic, but, we have 24 hours in the day and those 24 hours go by very quickly. But, for me, the way I juggle it all, it's really about prioritizing. So, when I'm at work, there's just so much of excitement and joy and thrill and passion that I get from the work that I do at Imperial and from the purpose that we try to achieve as an organization. And it's very fulfilling for me. But when I'm at work, that's what I focus on. And when I get back home, no matter how late or whatever it is, I always try to make sure that I'm back in time to spend some time with my kids and my husband, and just to give them that face time that they don't get with you for the day. And, actually, I've learned that, when you juggle corporate and being a mom, because those for me are the 2 most important roles that, that I juggle and need to make sure that I give the relevant amount of time to, is I've just realized, your kids just want you to be present, just like, your employer wants you to be present. And, and to give them that time, whether it's an hour or 2 hours, it's never about clock watching. It's just about my mom being there with me, laughing, playing dress up. You don't need to spend a whole day with everyone and please everyone. And, so that's how I kind of manage or juggle those 2 roles. Just coming back to what Luann said earlier, the time I spend with my husband every evening, because he's also got quite a high profile and stressful work job as well. And the time we spend is over a cup of tea at 10 o'clock every single night. And I'm convinced, and I'm touching wood here, but I'm convinced that's what's got us through COVID. Because a cup of green tea every night, that's our chance, when the world is behind us and there's no emails coming through, to catch up on the day, there's no kids that are interrupting, to catch up on the day, to reflect on what we've done. And I think reflection is also very important in all our journeys, because, I think, we do so much. I mean, I'm not the only woman around the screen that's, juggling many different roles and that's doing well in whatever we want to accomplish. But I really think it's important to just sit back sometimes, whether it's over a cup of tea, over some chocolate, or anything that makes us all feel happy, and reflect. Just look back on your day. Just reflect on what you've achieved. Reflect on how you can better yourself. Reflect and give advice to your partner, or your spouse, your daughter, or your child. And I think for me, that's always been part of my journey to grow and to progress in life, is reflection and passion. And I think that's really how I juggle it all. I think the media side of life, and certainly the fashion part of life and the travel part of life, is my weekend and my holiday sanity check, because I do think that we all need a time out. We need a time out for ourselves. And it's very difficult to find that time to do what we as individuals need to rejuvenate and to make sure we maintain a strong state of mind. I think COVID's shown all of us, Shamila and Daksha, that, with the many roles that we play, it's very difficult sometimes to maintain a healthy mind frame. And the only way you can really do that is to take time out for yourself, no matter how much kids and your husband and your job.
Yes.
Me time is your recharge time. And even if you spend some money in the process, great, do it for yourself and, don't regret it afterwards. So, I've said a lot, but effectively that's what gets me by. And I think my journey is very much where I started. It's all about passion, and do what gives you the impact that you intend to make, and do what gives you self-fulfillment. Because, we don't want to have a job, or you don't want to do a job or play any role with regret, or with tension or with stress. The world has enough of it. The world has enough challenges. So just try to make the most of what you are for you. And I think that's the way I get through it.
I love it. I simply love it. And you know, there's so much one can take away from what you said in terms of advice. You mentioned passion, purpose, prioritizing, time management, spending time with your family, which is so important. And, you know, money is just something that you can spend because you're earning it. So go out there and spend that quality time with your kids. And just something that I always emphasize is presence mean more than presence. And that is what we need to actually take in and cherish those moments with our families.
No, absolutely. And, you know, Shamila, I think that what we must all also remember is that, you know, everything we do and every action we take builds, you know, this bank of memories. And, you know, I don't want to look back on my life one day and think about, you know, those memories that are so stressful and I was always chasing the clock. You know, the memories for me, I mean, look, memories can't always be happy ones, right? And those ones that aren't happy, we need to learn from. And I think that, you know, it's just so important because, as you absolutely and rightfully say, is that when you look back at any monetary value that we get out of things, you know, you can't measure what memory and impact and time gives to people. I mean, even just looking at something as simple as CSI, a lot of people think that, you know, for you to make a real difference in somebody's life, you need to have tons of money, you need to be backed by corporate, you need to have a platform, you need to be famous. And, you know, when I actually, you know, go out into the communities and, you know, I like to actually give my time more than just, you know, monetary donations. And when you actually go out and you spend some time with kids at schools, for example, that's a great example, just to see the smiles on their faces. I mean, they're not really interested very much in, you know, the kind of monetary backing that you're giving to the school. Yes, that's important. But for me, what's priceless is that smile on their faces, or before COVID, that hug that you get.
I so agree with you.
Every day coming back to this big hug and this kiss, or the drawing at the back of my wall, which they draw for my husband and myself, it's invaluable. And I really think sometimes we get so caught up in chasing life and trying to achieve and get accolades that we actually forget the important things, the things that when it's too late, then we look back and have regrets. And I don't think that's the way I want to live my life.
And it's clear that you don't have those regrets because you're spending that, you're juggling and you're prioritizing, which is very important. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for everything that you do for our communities as well.
No, thank you, Shamila. And, you know, I always like to look back and say, well, one day we all leave behind a legacy. And like I said, I think a lot of my purpose is very much aligned to that of Imperials, in that we, you know, make a tangible difference to people's lives. And, you know, I think, you know, we never just see it as I'm going out to make a difference. We just look at the cause that needs the support and where we can really elevate communities. And there's just so much need in this world. And I don't think that any of us could ever really do enough. But, you know, at least we can try. So, you know, it's something that I really want to continue to progress.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Isha.
Wow, Isha, that's amazing. Just like all the women on this this chat today, you're a Jill of all trades, I think. But I'm manifesting here, and I want to know if, when one day I become an executive vice president, how would my day, what would I be in a typical, what would my day entail as a typical, you know, executive vice president?
Well, first of all, you know, when you wake up in the morning, never expect your day to go as planned. Okay, so when I woke up this morning, you know, I had a few emails to get through, and then I had a ton of meetings that I needed to attend, and then still, you know, work and do the actual, you know, rubber hitting the wheels kind of stuff. So I think the first thing is you need to be prepared to be agile. Because as much as, you know, you think you've got a planned set of meetings, or, you know, you always naturally get pulled into various different things. And I think, you know, once you're an executive vice president, I think it's very much about strategic thinking. So I think that's the biggest value add that you can have in an organization, you know, when that's the type of role that you have. So I think in everything that you do, it's less about execution and more about strategic thinking and the value you can add, not just to your team, but to the broader business. So that really must be top of mind for you. And I think, you know, every meeting that you're in, or every call that you take, or every motivational speech or talk that you give with your team, it's really about what is my strategic value add. But I think a bit more than that, you know, I think when you're also in a role of leadership, it's very much about motivating and empowering. And as much as that may sound cliched, you know, it's easier said than done. So I think it's very much about, you know, me taking a step back and giving my team the opportunity to shine. it's very difficult sometimes, to let go and to give them the platform to come with the ideas and to encourage fresh thinking. And I suppose, and also to be a soundboard. I think, very much all of us sometimes think that we know everything, and that's not necessarily the case. And when you're in a position of leadership in a big corporate, you very much need to take a step back sometimes and give others the opportunity, not just to shine, but to come forward and think out the box. And I think with leadership in this day and age, it's very much about agility. We need to be agile. COVID has taught us that it's never one size fits all. And I think, when you're in positions of leadership in whatever shape or form, in whatever organization, with whatever title, true leadership is shown through agility and then definitely through EQ. Because again, we can all be very rigid in the way we deal with people and the way we deal with our stakeholders and the way we want to get things done. The world doesn't work like that. And you have to progress your objectives by getting others on board and, making them part of the journey so that you can achieve a common goal. And a big part of that is, do I have EQ to be able to give others the opportunity to shine together as a team? It's not just about me, Isha, or me, the executive vice president, but it's definitely about a bigger vision that we all need to achieve together. And I think, that's typically the challenges or the roles or the things that you have to play out probably every day on the job.
Wonderful. I can see a lot of qualities of a transformational leader coming through there. Thank you so much, Isha Mansingh, for that. I'm sure a lot of people are going to take a lot out of that today. So thank you so much for sharing your journey with us. We move on to Dr. Babalwa Fashi. My first question to you, Dr. Babalwa, what is unique about your business?
For me, what is unique, I think, is the value systems it is built on. When you come to Miezo, by the way, Miezo means the Garden of Eden, because we are responsible for ensuring that as we develop, we take care of the environment, we take care of our natural resources, because if you think about it, without the water, there wouldn't be the mining industry, maybe that we think it gives us most of the commodities that we are trading. So the value system is care. We care for our clients, we communicate, we are accountable for the advice that we provide, we are responsible, and then we execute to excel. And excellence is not about being perfect. It is giving of yourself and serving your clients and your community. And the other beautiful thing is, I think is unique, is because as a leader of Miezo, I just saw myself as a big sister. So before even the term mentoring and coaching became a buzzword, I would just provide a platform through which the young graduates would develop into professionals. We will partner with universities so that we give them that 6-month internship program they need, training that they need so that they can graduate. And those who had already graduated, like master's graduates who didn't have experience, so we'll take them into a program whereby they would develop some core competencies that would make them to be registered as professionals. So that whole dynamic is very unique, is an dynamic environment where you feel like we are making a difference towards the economic development of this country. And yeah, the services that we provide are unique in themselves, especially now in times of the issues of climate change. Yeah, that platform of being able to engage with communities and empowering them to have a voice in the developments that might affect them and protect their constitutional right in that sense.
Awesome. So you're a multiple awardee. So you've got numerous accolades. I think we also shared a stage at some point. But just on your the pattern or formula to becoming a successful entrepreneur, how does that happen?
I don't believe there's a formula as such. However, I do believe there's got to be structure, there's got to be order, there's got to be a system that leads to some form of governance. And as an entrepreneur, you need to self-regulate first. So that's the governance I'm talking about. And with that being said, if then there's governance and there's this kingdom, which is your business, where there's these systems and these structures, the whole is never bigger than the sum of its components. So that's where now the systems are coming into play. So with that said, even though there is no formula, there's structure, there's order, there's systems, there's self-regulation, and with that comes a requirement for certain characteristics. So you need to have certain character traits and characteristics that make you to be an entrepreneur. You need to be able to identify problems, because it's about identifying a problem in your community, around you, and society, and then providing a solution. So once you have that ability to be a visionary, to identify a problem and apply solutionist thinking to the problem, then these are these components of the bigger whole that you need to get to that point where you are running an ethical you are running a business within an ethical culture. There's effective control, there's good performance, there's monitoring of what is being done by yourself, and as a leader within that organization, there's efficiency as well. So all in all, no formula. However, there's got to be structure, there's got to be order, there's got to be governance.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doctor. I 100% agree with you. And I think, what also worked for myself is, or what still is working for me, is having a great mentor who can, just train me and who I can look up to in terms of my entrepreneurial tricks as well. My last question to you.
Who is your mentor?
I don't know. My last question to you is, what is the best advice you can give?
I think some of the things Esha touched on them. In this day and age, you just need to be resilient. You need to be agile. You need to be able to understand where the markets are going and be able to adapt. Yes, there are certain principles that you need to be very firm on and not compromise on, because otherwise then you end up compromising on your vision and who you are. Having mentioned who you are, then the other thing is you being authentic. I always say sometimes it's difficult to serve a community out of something that has not been defined, and you need to define it within yourself first. Understand who you are, what is your purpose, and where do you want to contribute within the bigger world. And everything then, these components of a bigger whole I'm talking about, they fit within who you are as a person. So it's important as well to define who you are and define the role that you want to play in society, and then go out there giving out of the gift that you also believe you have. Is, I call it, a purpose as well. And because that becomes the reason for your being, whether things start to shake. I mentioned resilience. You tend to stand firm and be rooted in your center, because you know deep down from your core who you are. So you don't get blown around by every wind, every doctrine that comes around. You know what you are here to give, and you serve humanity from that point of authenticity.
Love it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. So we move ahead to Dr. Roshni Pakeri. Roshni, what has been your most satisfying moment in your foundation, this being the founder of Sanjeet Train of Hope Foundation? You can maybe just give us a little background if you wish, and take us through that. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Shamila. So the Sanjeet Train of Hope Foundation was founded after I lost my 16-year-old son in 2017. And it was in 2019 that we decided, my husband and I, to do this foundation. And that was the way that we wanted to go forward in terms of our healing. And, we started that foundation due to the fact that my son was such a giver, and, he was just out there all of the time. And then we decided that, his legacy was not going to be, or we was going to build his legacy, because whatever he did in his life, even though he was only 16, was being that a giving personality and a kind and a gentle soul. So we thought, in order to help us and live his legacy, do the Sanjay Train of Hope Foundation. That is, in a nutshell, bringing hope to the hopeless. So we started this foundation, and doing from our business, we started to a non-profit organization where we go to the communities and to the less privileged, and do charity work, and thereby lifting his name. And then we found out that while we were doing this, that you helped us also with giving us the platform of his name going, if I should say, globally. And that was the mission that was accomplished in this last 3 years, even though during lockdown we tried to do some stuff here and there. And so, to cut it short, the most priceless moment of that Sanjay Train of Hope Foundation is when you see the people's faces when we provide them with this hope. And literally, the Sanjay Train of Hope is giving hope to the hopeless. And that is always a priceless moment, when you see the people's faces, that they see why, and then they want to know about my son, and then it goes on. And it's remarkable where the name started and where it's going. And we strive to do that daily, that we won't let, we just take it forward. And amazing things have happened in the last 3 years with his name. And so that was the priceless moment, I would say, is just looking at hope on the hopeless.
Wonderful. I must congratulate you and Mark Pakri for what you do in the communities, because you're making such an impact. And I'm so glad that I introduced you to the global platforms, because you're sharing your journey and your stories. And that is what people want to hear, because a lot of people go through the same thing as you, and they don't know how to go through the healing process, which is so important. So well done on that. And thank you for sharing, because I always love speaking to you, and I always love having you on these platforms, because I just feel that you have such a great story to share. And I wish you and Mark the best of luck going forward. And I know you're going to really make a huge impact in our communities. Thank you for that.
No, thank you as well, Shamila.
So just on a brighter side, who has been your greatest inspiration?
Okay, you know what? This is, in my life, I would say this. For me, it's a tricky question, because I never really looked at anyone as an inspiration. I used to always try to be my own. It's like even in my family, everyone would go left and Roshni would go right. So I was that rebel. So I didn't want to follow anyone, and I just wanted to follow my own instinct. And thus ending up in the police force, where my whole family, until to this day, they don't even still accept that, although it's been a done and dusted career. And so I feel that, when I started this foundation and all of that, Shamila, I must say this, and it's not, it's the truth from where I'm sitting now to where I am now. And I always wanted, after everything that happened in my life and prior, I always wanted to share things with other people, because I had so much to give. And my inspiration, I must say today, is you, Shamila Ramjawan, because you offered me many, many platforms to share my story and to do the mission, which I look at presently. After everything that happened in my life, I just think present and future, a little bit about the future, but more about the present. So I grab onto what's given to me, opportunity, daily opportunity. So I look to you as my inspiration, because you offered me the platform, and I've been watching how you've been doing things and seeing that, you know what, we all, sometimes we need that mentor, we need that push to be given something. So I would say that you are my inspiration. Thank you.
You're going to make me so emotional now. Thank you so much for that. I really, really appreciate that. You know, I try to do as much as I can. And I always believe we rise by lifting others. And that's what I'm here for. My passion and purpose is to elevate others. So thank you for that. That's very kind of you. I'm like so emotional right now.
No, but it's
Thank
the
you.
truth. So.
Thank you. I'm so glad that I make an impact on other people's lives as well. So thank you so much. I appreciate that. And I wish you all the best, Roshni. I know you go through some hard days and you go through some easy days, but it's not easy losing a child. And I know you and Mark have each other. You have a great support structure for each other, which is very important. So cherish that and all the best going forward. Big hugs.
No, thank you so much. Thank you.
We move ahead to Ambassador Mary Mia Kasimji.
Hello.
Hi. So, Ambassador, we know that, you know, you are a CEO, you are the founder of MEA Company, you're a motivational speaker and a life coach, as well as a humanitarian. But I want to know, what mistakes have you made along the way and how did you overcome them?
There's so many. Where do I start? No, obviously I've made many, many mistakes, but I have to say that, you know, in hindsight, you sit and you do an assessment. They're mistakes that I actually value today, because if not for what those mistakes were, I wouldn't be who I am. Those mistakes are what taught me lots of different lessons, and taught me to different methods and different strengths that I have now, which I didn't have back then. In terms of what the mistake I think was for me, and this is now just looking back, I think it was I was too much of a people pleaser at the beginning. If you go back to the intro, I did say that I have 3 different academia, and the reason for this is that I studied law, for example, and that was because it was cultural that you have to study something that pleases everybody. You know, people are going to say this, you need to choose something that's going to make everybody happy. But it just wasn't me to be able to sit there and take the instructions to, you know, how to open up a file and what to do with people, because my idea of how to help somebody was just not going to be dictated by someone else. And I then moved on to different industries, which is then what pushed me into financial forensics and psychology. But my biggest change came about when I had my car accident, which left me paralyzed for 7 months. And in that time, I was told I'd never walk again, and, you know, stuff like that. And I was very young. It was like 22, 23 at the time. And there's all of these different things happening, and you know that you have this potential, but you're also lying there and you just, what's happening with my life? And the only thing happening for you while you're lying there is your brain is working, your mental capacity is working. And today I walk, I'm a mother, and I've defied a couple of odds which were told to me. And that's where the MEA company started in my head. And motivate, empower, and advance, because the mistakes I had made came forth. When you lie there, all you do is introspect. The only thing you can do is think about things, think about what you've done, what you would have liked to change, and what you would like to change going forward if given a chance. So you kind of have this deal going on with your higher authority, like, give me back my legs, give me back this, and I'll do this in return, you know, stuff like that. And that kind of introspection is what makes you change who you are. So my mistakes were being too much of a people pleaser. I had started, for example, at the age of 11, doing lots of community work. I did my first lecture with women in Cape Town at the age of 14. And that was my passion. If I had just stuck with my passion instead of trying to do careers that made everybody else happy, I would have been this person back then. But I can't sit with regret with that now. There were mistakes then, yes. So if I say I'm sorry, I'm not sorry for that moment back then, but I'm sorry that I lost that time frame. However, that time frame is what taught me many life's lessons, which make me who I am today.
Amazing. What a story. Thank you so much, Miriam. So if you had to talk about the worst decisions that you made, one of them, share with us, please.
Worst decisions. Linked to people pleasing, I think it would have been taking a time out to be a rebel. You know, when you become too much of a people pleaser, the one thing that you try and do is live for everybody else. So your definition of who you are is actually defined by other people's standards. And I lived that for quite a while. And then you get to a point where you become this, I don't care about them anymore. I just want to do my own thing. And just so that you can focus on you, you actually do the wrong. You become this rebel and you just want to do your own thing and you just don't care who says what and who feels what until you hit the rock bottom. And only when you hit that rock bottom is when you actually say, okay, wait, that was a decision I shouldn't have taken. Everybody said, I told you so. So it's all of those little things that happen in your life that develop you, that help to grow you, that strengthen you. So yeah, I think one of my worst decisions was when I decided to, you know what, leave everything aside. I don't care about everybody. I don't care what mom thinks, what dad thinks. I just want to be my own person, and decided to be this rebel with a cause. And my cause obviously just made me fall flat. And then I just picked myself up, and that's where the mistake would have been, or the worst decision would have been. But again, I'm grateful for that because it makes me today.
It actually makes you stronger. And Miriam, if you had to write a book, okay, you've done so much, you know, over your life, I would say, and you know, especially in community work and the journey that you've been through, and you're still there. You're still a strong woman. If you had to write a book, what would the title be?
I have been asked to write a book. And I think it will have to be a journal with volume 1 to I don't know which other volume, because there's so many things that's happened. But if I have to look back on my life, Shamila, I think it will have to have a title with the name of the wave in it, because my journey has been almost a wave, a tide. And if you have to look back, for example, last year was one of those years that showed me where my tidal waves actually came through. Because even during COVID, for example, I was going out to these locations, and it was, you know, there were so many experiences I had during those different altercations with people in those communities that made me actually humble myself to grow myself even more, because you never really know enough and you never really feel enough until you're out there feeling what others are feeling. So that empathy is what grew me more last year. And when that ambassadorship came up from GIA, that was just a boost for me, because at that point I was hitting a low. And like, you know, you need to boost your spirits to keep everybody else going, but how are you going to keep going for yourself? So when that happened for me, it was this boost to say, Marine, you're on the right track, just keep going, you know. Yes. So that ambassadorship was there. So if it has to be in a book, I think it will have to be something to do with my journey and to do with the wave, because it's always been the wave in my life. So I'm thinking maybe my wave, my journey, or my journey, my wave. Let's see what happens. It would be good, yeah.
We're going to actually look out for that book. Thank you, Marian. Thank you, Ambassador Marian, for that and for sharing that wonderful journey. Keep up the amazing work that you're doing in our communities.
Thank you so much, both of you.
Our next guest is Sishle. Sishle, what is your greatest fear and how do you manage fear?
Wow, my greatest fear is I fear poverty, guys. Fear not being able to provide. That is one of my greatest fears, waking up and not being able to.
Sishle, we can barely hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Are you there? Yes, I can hear you now.
You hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So the question was, what's my greatest fear? And my greatest fear is not being able to provide for my children, not being able to give them food, give them shelter, failing them and not being there for them holistically. That's one of my greatest fears, because I am the only living parent that they have. And so if I fail them, I feel as though I would have completely failed myself. And that's one of the things that push me to strive to work as hard as I do, so that I just do not fail my kids.
Tell me a little bit about your foundation, Cornelia Foundation. Very interesting with your introduction. How do you raise funds to do what you do in the foundation?
So Cornelia Foundation was birthed last year in October 2020. And believe it or not, we've been doing everything from my own personal pocket, because that's when you realize that there's a difference between one who would do a foundation for maybe just for pleasure, but for me, it's personal. It's something that I had been through, and the main thing that we're trumpeting at the time when it was launched is because during COVID-19, I had to face myself, and facing myself made me remember and recount to say, take stock of my life, because I was given away to a church at the age of 16. And from the age of 16 till 26, for 10 years of my life, I cannot account or to what happened to me. I was given to a church, subsequently human trafficked to Nigeria, subsequently came back to South Africa. And each time I tried to speak out to say, this is what happened to me, nobody believed me. So I'm giving you that brief background because for me, it was a personal conviction to say, not in my lifetime will there be another girl child who will go through what I went through and nobody believed them. So Kwanele Foundation is a platform that allows women and children, males also, who have been abused and victimized at the hands of the entire religious fraternity to raise their hands and speak, because we are saying your voice is valid, because most people when they speak of gender-based violence, we just speak on the surface, but we don't go within different sectors. So how have I been funding it? It's been through my personal pocket since, because then we were delayed by the Department of Social Development. COVID hit, it took forever for us to be compliant in terms of getting our NPO certifications and stuff. So we only got our NPO certification this year in January, and getting the NPO certification again, we went through the whole process of doing our tax and everything. So now we are basically, we've put forth a few applications and awaiting for sponsorship and donations, but also at the same time, we've been blessed where we would have people who believed in us, who would contact us privately and say, I want to plow, I want to plant a seed into your foundation. I want to donate a certain amount into your foundation because I see the great job you're doing. I'll give you an example. During the whole of November, December, I was in KwaZulu-Natal every week because KwaZulu-Natal is our hotspot. The KZN...
Hotspot for COVID or hotspot in terms of fundraising?
Sorry?
Hotspot for COVID or hotspot in terms of fundraising?
No, it's a hotspot in terms of a lot of victims are writing to my foundation about pastors in KwaZulu-Natal that have raped or emotionally or victimized them holistically. But you find that during this time, the KwaZulu-Natal Magistrate Court, Ntuzuma Court, Pietermaritzburg Court, I think they know Kwanele Mfundisi, Kwanele Foundation. When they see me, they just think, oh my God, who is she arresting today or who is she brought to court today? Because we've had to accompany so many victims because we provide, thank God for people in the legal fraternity who have volunteered to say, look, you can use my services when you've got legal cases. So when we've got cases in KZN, we've had lawyers who are assisting. We take the victims through psychological counseling because remember, the main aim of our foundation is complete rehabilitation holistically. We are not out to expose pastors. We're not out to expose anybody, but we are about the holistic rehabilitation of the perpetrator and the victim. So as I say, we've started applying for funding from private companies and government, but thus far it's been from our own pocket and from these lovely angels that God has blessed us, where people would say, I want to lend a helping hand. I want to sponsor your next trip. I believe in what you're doing and we're standing with you 100%.
Awesome. Wow. Thank you so much. I wish you all the best. And you're doing such great work. And, you know, it actually stems from what you've been through, from experience. And I always say, when you've experienced something, it's easier to go on the journey because you know and you feel for others as well.
Thank you, Sishle. I remember when we met you and you told us your story, your life story, I actually just went numb because I could basically feel what you went through. And I'm sure that just must have been hard and you live with that every day. But well done on overcoming, you know, all of that. And look where you are today. So I want to know, what's your most memorable experience as being a businesswoman today?
Wow, let me tell you, I don't have, I think the one in particular is when, well, it's always all the time, but when my kids get to see the work that I do, for me, it cuts deep. I'll give you an example. I had my daughter the other day saying, "Oh, mommy, I told my friends that you're a celebrity and you're doing a good job." And I said, "But where's that stemming from?" And she said, "Because my teacher told me that she sees you on the news, she sees you everywhere." And for me, creating those little memories where my kids are so aware of our environment, they are aware of their mom's journey, because I am deliberate in owning my narrative, owning my story, because I don't want the next person to come and speak a story that is fabricated. So my kids are fully aware of my narrative, their narrative, and what's happening within our space. That is why I've got such a close relationship with my kids. So memorable moments, my darling, there are just too many, but the most one was when, again, my kids came to me and they gave me a hug. I remember after my husband died, my in-laws took everything and we were left homeless. Literally, they took the cars, they brought a van that came and took out all the furniture, and they asked me and my kids to vacate the house. And at that time, my daughter was 2 and my son was 6 years old.
Oh, no.
Memorable thing that always pierces through my soul is that when I recovered from that 2 years later and I bought our first car, my son was 8 years old and he came to me and he hugged me and he cried and he was weeping. And I remember I needed to take it for service, and he ran to me and he said, "Mommy, are they taking this car away also?" And I said, "No, no, 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 no. That will never happen to us again." And I had to explain to him that it's not being taken, but it's going for service. So memories with my kids are ones that are created all the time. And when you say my memorable moment, it always has to reflect back to the behind the scene moments that I have with my kids that are unspoken, that people don't see, because I'm a fruitcake. I cry, I break down behind the scenes, but I've got these two little angels that are constantly putting me in check.
Absolutely. And you know, it's so amazing that how certain things actually stick with the kids, that he actually remembered the car story.
I was shocked. Yeah, I was
Yes.
shocked because he was 6 at the time, and he remembered because when my in-laws came, they didn't make it a secret. They demanded my late husband's car keys and they got us out of the house. So that was imprinted in his mind. So that is why I own my narrative, I own my story. And that is why I always say my kids, even if they hear whatever they hear, they know the truth about our story. And that is why I'm out there and I speak about my journey, because not to discredit anyone. I always say it's not to discredit anyone, but it's for people to learn what to do and what not to do. So that if you have a sister, if you have a daughter-in-law, from my experience, learn what not to do. If you're a pastor or a leader, from my experience, learn what not to do. You know, so it's about teaching people, for people to choose what to do and what not to do. But more than anything is to teach my kids to say, own your story. And I always say to them, your mother is fearless, so shall you be. So those are the little people that I'm raising.
Lovely. And you're doing a great job at that. Sihle, songstress. This actually stands out for me. When I see your bio all the time, I see songstress.
Yeah.
What does it mean? Are you going to sing for us?
Well, songstress, the thing is, you know, I always say to people that my voice is my invoice, and they laugh at me. I say, but it's so true, because I get booked to speak, and I used to sing at church, and then I subsequently started singing on the side. And I remember someone said to me in January, "But when are we going to studio to record an album?" And I said, "Hey, hang on, it's not yet time, I'm not ready." But yeah, I can sing. Most of the time I'm blessed, because most of the time the government officials, when they're having big openings and stuff, I usually get booked to open the events with the national anthem and all these things. So I'm actually grateful for the connections and the people that I meet, because it just comes into place, all of it. But when I sing for you, I'll make noise.
Absolutely. Well, let's leave that for the next time I have you on the show, because we're running out of time. I think we got a little more to go through or get through, and then we'll definitely arrange another time slot where I get you, just you solely on the Red Corner Show. How's that?
Of course, 100%.
Absolutely. Sishle, thank you so much for sharing your journey, and you're so inspiring. Absolutely love it. Thank you so much. We move on to our youth ambassador, Shweta Suridin. And over to you, Daksha. I'm going to leave it to the youth to talk to the youth.
Yeah, I'm so excited. So Shweta and I are part of the LOANI Youth we're LOANI Youth Ambassadors. So Shweta, I want to know, why Girl Boss? What is the reasoning behind Girl Boss?
Thank you for that. Firstly, I just want to say that listening to everyone's, story, if I could call it that, has been so inspirational. I have this feeling of like warmth inside me right now and goosebumps. It's wow. Thank you for this platform, first of all. It's been really amazing. So coming back to the question, Daksha, so Girl Boss, when I was launching the Girl Boss space and the social space, which is my digital sort of agency, I Googled Girl Boss and what it really meant. And I saw there was a lot of negative connotations to Girl Boss, because a lot of people said, it's sort of doing girls down. Why would you say girl? Why would you not say woman? And for me, it's just taking it back to the literal meaning. Girl meaning female, boss meaning in control of something. So Girl Boss is a female in control. Or a leader, or something along those lines. And so that's why Girl Boss. I feel that I'm obviously female and in control of my life. So that's basically where Girl Boss started. I think being a Girl Boss, you need to follow your ambitions and present yourself in a way that's classy and elegant to the world. Just have your stuff together, basically. And I think a lot of people and a lot of people around the screen do. All of the ladies, definitely Girl Bosses in my opinion.
So I always tell my mom, millennials of today, it's a topic for another day, but when we talk to some of them, they do definitely say that they don't have time. And, it's about giving someone an opportunity and them not taking it. So how do you find the time? You have a 9-to-5, you're a business owner, you're a humanitarian. I want to know, where do you find the time, and what advice could you give to our youth of today to make time to follow their dreams?
So I think, it really comes down to priorities and what you prioritize. So, you could prioritize binging a Netflix series for 7 hours, whereas you could do 3 hours and 4 hours doing something else. So it really comes down to priorities and what you give time to. And I think that sort of stems into what is important to you. So if something is important to you, you'll pursue it and you'll make time for it. So I think from a working 9-to-5 and more often than not, it's even, working on weekends, working after hours. I'm a digital marketing manager. And so I'm sure from a marketing perspective, it always goes, after we don't watch the clock. And so it's finding the time, if something matters to you, you'll find the time to do it. My advice is to the youth is to prioritize, if something matters to you and if you can dream it, you can totally go for it. You can work towards it and you can totally do it. That's my advice.
I love that. If you can dream it, you can do it. I think it goes like that, something like that. Yes. Dream it and achieve it. Let's say dream it and achieve it.
It both works.
Yes. I can so relate when it comes to prioritizing, because the kids they actually install Netflix and Amazon and Showmax on my laptop, and I've got a variety of stuff to watch. But I actually haven't watched a full movie yet, because I just feel that I need to do certain things that are more important to me than sit and watch Netflix.
100%.
So you have to prioritize, and I think that's the best piece of advice you can give to a youngster, is to prioritize, because they really need to manage their time properly.
Absolutely. And, besides that, it's great to take a break, and I love I personally love Netflix. If I can watch Friends the whole day over and over again, I'll totally do it. But you know, there comes a time where you prioritize for certain tasks, and you know, taking a break is, you know, I don't want to give the wrong message where I'm saying work, because that's not at all what I'm saying. You totally need a break, especially for your mental health. So, you know, prioritize and set aside time to do certain things. That's basically my message.
Yes, I think we're actually speaking about that today. You know, with work and studying and all these committees and being members everywhere and posting on social media, we actually talked about reading. So we actually spoke about some books that we want to, you know, just reread.
Yeah. There's so many books that I have that I want to reread because I just love, you know, there's some books that really stand out, and we're talking about it, and Daksha says, Mom, we need to really set aside time, because I mean, we were bookworms. We used to read a hell of a lot of stuff, and now there's just no time to sit down and read something, because these days you're reading stuff on your iPad or on the internet or on Facebook or wherever, and you forget about reading a hard copy of a book.
Absolutely.
The joy of getting reading, yes, the stimulation.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's something different about reading or holding something, you know, physically than having it like, I have a diary, and I have to write down stuff in the diary. I cannot have I have the stuff on my phone, my calendar on my phone, but writing it down and it's tangible and it's there in black and white, it just feels more concrete, if I could say. And so I guess that's also with reading. So honestly, I wasn't really a bookworm, but I do read the occasional book here and there. And yeah, definitely reading. I think that's something we all need to start doing. I think I read somewhere this lady said that she reads 1 hour before bed. So she puts her phone away and she reads 1 hour before bed. And I thought, even, you know, half an hour, that would be amazing.
Yes, I think even to start, you know, if people don't read, start with just 10 minutes or 15 minutes a day. And it's amazing as you grasp onto the stories and, you know, get in tune with it, you actually want to read more because it becomes more interesting as well. So yes, definitely. And just on the diary, my diary goes to bed with me. I mean, some days I wake up and my diary is under my duvet. So yeah, because I think, you know, as you get older as well, you tend to forget. So and also I want to catch my dreams. So I quickly write it down.
That's a shortcut way of like getting to your dreams. Having it under your pillow.
Absolutely. So Shweta, we'd like to know what motivates you.
Or who motivates you?
So, you know, honestly speaking, and I heard Auntie Roshni speak about it as well, and she said that I think her question was inspire. And honestly speaking, I think motivation comes from oneself. You know, you can definitely find motivation in, you know, external factors or people online or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, if you're not motivated within yourself, if you don't have goals to reach, if you don't have ambitions, you know, nothing's gonna, you can see a post and scroll by it and say, today I'm gonna, you know, do X, Y, Z. And if you don't have it within you and you don't have a sort of clear vision in mind of what you want and where you want to go, that means nothing. So I think to answer the question, I motivate myself. Obviously, I draw strength from the higher power and my ambitions and my goals. I think that's the truthful answer. I want to say some celebrity or someone else, but honestly, it's myself.
It starts with you, definitely.
Yeah.
You know, I said to someone the other day, and I love reading Rupi Kaur now because this 28-year-old is just inspiring me. Can you believe it? And she said, if you start loving yourself more, you make it easier to teach someone to love you.
Absolutely.
So that, you know, just everything just falls into place. Shweta, thank you so much for sharing your inspiration with us, and I'm sure a lot of the people enjoyed your little journey. Thank you for that. We're almost to the end of this show. I'm just going to quickly go around and ask somebody for one line. I think we're running out of time. So, you know, you ladies have touched me, touched the audience. We've got loads of messages coming through on Facebook Live as well as in the chat here. So, you know, some of the things that we took away is being a police wife and trying to juggle handling a kid. Garden of Eden, sharing a story of losing a child, intersection, GBV, motivation. And I think, there's just so much that one can actually take away from that with today's show. So we're going to quickly move over to Luann. Luann, if you can just share just one sentence. It's International Women's Day. What would be your one-liner to inspire people out there?
Shamila, International Women's Day for me is remembering where we come from, how many milestones we have reached, and that we've got so much more that we need to do, and that the legacy that we leave behind for our daughters and our granddaughters will be the effort and the work that we put in today.
Love it. Thank you. Isha had to go, so she's left us. We move on to Babalwa.
The message for me would be just let us all just be authentic, be united, and support each other. We are women. We are not less than any other of God's creation. Let us love each other. Let us know that we matter.
Thank you. Roshni. Roshni, you unmute.
Hi, sorry. So I'd just like to say to all the women out there, everybody's saying this, that you are enough, and everything that you have inside of you to give to the world, keep on giving, and grab your inspiration where you can, and grab everything from everyone, and also for yourself, and share everything about yourself, and inspire women and inspire the world. And where you can help somebody, just share that, share your help, share yourself sometimes where you can. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Ambassador Marine, could you please share your one-liner?
Well, I think all of our stories here lie, all of our stories have a lesson or some kind of a power that we take away with us. So each one of us has some narrative that touches someone else and resonates with someone. And in that is where I think we'll find our authenticity in multiplying how we can move, women leaders going forward. But there's a quote that I'd like to end up with, which is one of my favorites. And it says that a strong woman knows that she has strength for her journey, but a woman of strength knows that it's in her journey where she will become strong.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Sishle.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
No, I always live by this slogan or motto that you can't give what you don't have. So my motivation to women out there would be everything starts within. If we can strive to fill our cups within ourselves, then we're able to manifest that which we have within ourselves. So let's always try to surround ourselves with all positive vibes, positive people. It's okay to walk away when it's going to bring forth heartache and negativity in your life, because most of the time as women, we live under the syndrome of what will people say. It's about time that we start saying, it's not about what will people say, but it's about what will I say? What will my body say to me? Because our bodies react to negativity. You find that you suddenly get migraines, you suddenly have achings and pains all over the body, because sometimes the body reacts to things that we've experienced and things we say. So be selfish about yourself. Fill yourself up with positivity, love yourself, so that when you're able to, then you'll be able to manifest this externally to those close and around you.
Love it. Wow.
Thank you, Sishle. Shweta, from your side?
So firstly, happy International Women's Day to all the beautiful women. I think that each and every one of us, male, woman, everyone, we're all powerful, and my message is to embrace that power. And just a specific message to the youth in general, and Auntie Shamila, I heard this on your Momentum video, is start with yourself. You know, and I think that's so important to know your why, to start with yourself and build yourself up. And that's my message to the youth, and especially the female youth, is you have goals, you have ambitions. What is your why? And start with yourself. That's my message. Thank you.
Lovely. So I'm going to ask Daksha, do you have something to say?
Yes, thank you very much. So mine is, you know, to all the ladies across the world, you are powerful, unique, and you are leaders. And, you know, your voice matters, so use it. Thank you.
I'm just going to add to that. Just be you. You're authentic. Everyone else is taken. So just focus on yourself. You're beautiful. Look in the mirror and say, that person in the mirror is beautiful. We're going to end the show right here. It was an awe-inspiring show. I loved chatting to all of you ladies, and I'm sure the audience enjoyed that too. So until next time, we're going to love and leave you.
And yes, thank you so much. I love being your co-host. I just want to add to that. For all of you who would like to contact us, you can catch us on our social media. On Instagram, we go as @LOANI.SouthAfrica. On Facebook, we are Ladies of All Nations South Africa. And our LinkedIn page is Ladies of All Nations SA. And if you would like to be interviewed by my lovely host, you can contact her on the Red Corner Show.
Yes, so follow the social media, Red Corner Show, on all platforms. We have a YouTube channel. Please subscribe. We have amazing, phenomenal people from across the globe that I chat to. So, you know, I've done over 100 chats already. So go on there to the YouTube channel and you would just gain some inspiration from someone. And follow the Facebook page. We have an Instagram page. And just follow us. And if you would like to be on the show, just send me an email, redcornerchat@gmail.com. And until next week, thank you. Bye.